Welcome back, students. This is Sujit sir, and in today's class we shall discuss how we write letters to the editor. Now before that, my dear students, let us understand what actually letters to the editor are. Now students, a letter to the editor is a short formal letter written to the editor of a newspaper. Unlike private letters that we write to our parents, relatives, friends, etc., these letters are always guided by certain rules, and so they are also called formal letters because here we need to maintain some formalities. Now students, we have to understand what is the purpose of writing such a letter, or why do we write a letter to the editor. Now, letters to the editor are generally written to publicize the hidden problems. They are meant for the public interest. These letters help to draw the attention of the higher authorities. Local, regional, and sometimes national issues are highlighted through such letters. Let us now understand, my dear students, what we should remember while writing such a letter. The language should be easy and not complicated. Now students, here we need to keep in mind that we should be very straightforward and come directly to our point without making it something which is difficult to understand. Secondly, the letter should be brief and to the point. So, the letter should not be a lengthy one. According to the present pattern, it should be in about 100 to 120 words and must be relevant to the subject matter. And finally, the overall approach should be courteous. Now, what do I mean to say here? Here, we have to be very polite in our way of writing the letter. Even though we express our concern through such letters, we have to be humble in our approach. Now let us understand the format of such a letter. Now students, in an editorial letter, marks are awarded on the basis of these three things: the format, the content of your letter, and finally, the expression of your letter is evaluated. Now, what does the part format mean? The format of a letter includes the sender's address, that is your address, followed by the date, then comes the receiver's address or the recipient's address, then we go to the subject matter, that is also called the heading of your letter. Then comes salutation, that is, whenever we write a letter, we begin with sir or ma'am, that is what is known as salutation, and finally comes conclusion. These are the parts which are seen as the format of a letter. Now the second part, which carries 2 marks, is the main part of your letter, that is the body of the letter, in which we discuss or convey the main problem. And finally, 2 marks are given for how you have expressed yourself. So, the grammatical accuracy is taken into account. You should be very careful about your spellings, and your use of words in the letter is also given emphasis. Now, my dear students, let us go through an example and understand about the various parts of a letter. So, On the left hand side top, we have to write the address of the sender. Here we need to remember that we shall not write the word address. Rather, we shall directly write the address as you can see here, 12 SN Banerjee Road, Barakpur, Kolkata 700120. That's the pin code. One more important thing is you should try to keep your address within 2 to 3 lines. Now your address will be followed by the date on which you are writing the letter. Thereafter, students, we have to leave a line and then we have to write the designation of the receiver, that is the editor. One more thing, students, we should not begin with to. What do I mean to say? We should not write to in the beginning, then the editor. Although to was once written, but it has now become outdated. According to the present pattern, we start directly with the editor without writing to before it. Then will come the name of the newspaper. So here you can write the name of any of the leading newspapers. Here we have used the Times of India. So the editor in the beginning, then will come the name of the newspaper, the Times of India. And in the next line, you have to write the name of your city. Again, you have to leave a line and then you have to put the salutation. What is that? As I have told you earlier, it will be sir or ma'am. Now you can write as you find here, because we always remain unaware of the gender of the editor. So it is better to write in this manner, sir/ma'am. Now again we can leave one more line and then write the subject. The subject will be given in the question itself. Now here our subject matter is abnormal rise in prices of medicines. Now this is a current topic, and suppose that we have been asked to write a letter to the editor of an English daily raising our concern about this issue. Now after writing the subject, we have to go to the body of the letter directly. Now before we go to the body of the letter, let me tell you, my dear students, that the body of the letter may be divided into 3 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, you will introduce yourself and you will mention about what the subject matter is. So the first paragraph is called the introductory paragraph, because here you are introducing yourself and the problem as well. The second paragraph is the main paragraph, which deals with your concern and also what remedies can be there of that particular problem. And finally, the third paragraph will be the concluding paragraph. There you are closing the letter. Now let us see how these 3 paragraphs are to be written. Look students, this is the introductory paragraph or the first paragraph, in which we have to highlight our concern. I would like to express my serious concern through the columns of your largely circulated daily over the unrestrained increase in the prices of medicines at present. Now students, the adjective unrestrained means something which is difficult to be checked. So here we have highlighted or introduced our problem. There are of course many other ways which we can use in our introductory paragraph. Now let us move towards the second paragraph. that is the main paragraph in the body of your letter. Now here we have discussed how the abnormal rise in prices of medicines has affected the middle class people. Now let me read it out. Those who belong to the middle class always have a limited income. So we all know the middle class people are neither rich nor poor. So they always have a limited amount of income. They somehow make both ends meet. So with difficulties, they run their household. Within that limited earning, they manage the household, children's education, and pay for other essential necessities. So these are all known facts. We are quite familiar with these things. Now, the additional expenditure means whatever you are spending. The additional expenditure on medicines and treatment is indeed a real burden to them. So apart from meeting with the basic necessities, if you have to spend extra amount of money on medicines and treatment, that will really be burdensome to the people of the middle class families. Moreover, the lockdown caused by the pandemic has badly affected the normal life both in urban and rural areas. So this lockdown, as we all know, has worsened the condition. It has badly affected the normal course of life both in cities and in villages. Now it has become utterly difficult for most people to afford expensive treatment and buy costly medicines. Therefore, it is almost next to impossible for the middle class families to spend money on expensive treatment or for buying costly medicines. The government must look into this serious issue and take some effective steps to bring the prices under control. Now here you are giving a suggestion on what a possible remedy can be in consideration with the present problem. The government must do something to keep the prices under control. So here you are suggesting of a possible solution. Now let us see the final paragraph. So finally, you have to place a request to the editor to publish your issue in his largely circulated daily, so that the government as well as the public at large will respond to it. So you may conclude your letter in such a way where you have to request the editor to highlight the issue so that everyone may know of it. And finally, you have to leave a line and close your letter with yours faithfully, followed by your name. But students, at the same time you have to remember that in most of the cases, the name of the sender is given in the question. If it is given, that name has to be written and not your name. So this is how, my dear students, we can write a letter to the editor. I hope all of you have understood the various things which we have to keep in mind while drafting such a letter to the editor. See you all in the next class. Thank you so much.